Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. I'm at the beach. And what do you do at the beach? You do some beach reading, like C.S. Lewis's The Abolition of Man and Megaman, NT Warrior. It's the abolition of Megaman. Anyway, so I've been taking a break. I told you guys when I took my break it wasn't going to be forever, and this has been a good week for me. I've seen family. I've had some time to think about things, kind of like reprioritize my life a little bit, find some future focus, make plans. It's been great. And when I kind of slow down and take a break, I actually can think about something from a new angle and get a thesis and not just crank out 20 videos a day. So, what does C.S. Lewis and Andrew Klavan and video game design have to do with Mega Man NT Warrior? Well, I will explain to you with many, many tangents. All right, so let's start with game design before I forget that. So I'm reading A Theory of Fun for Game Design, and the basic idea of A Theory of Fun is underneath all different types of games. If it's a good game, there has to be this core value of fun, and the core value of fun is sort of like something that undergirds everything else. And basically, it's all about not falling into one of two extremes. If you're bored with the game, that may mean that the game is too hard, it's throwing a million challenges at you way too fast, you're getting frustrated, you're dying over and over and over again, it doesn't make sense, it's not explaining the challenges very well, you don't see a pattern, you quit. The other extreme is it's way too easy, you're doing the same stupid simple little task over and over and over and over again, you know exactly how to do it, you know you're going to do it before you even start, you get bored, you quit. So good game design keeps you engaged. You're neither getting too bored or too frustrated that you quit. It's teaching you as you play. Andrew Klavan, Andrew Klavan has the best podcast, even though he talks about politics. If you're not a politics guy, the reason you should make the Andrew Klavan podcast, the only podcast you listen to, is Andrew Klavan is a writer. Therefore, he looks at politics through the lens of a storyteller, through the lens of someone who's been in the entertainment industry, and that makes it much more interesting than just the back and forth of that party or this party. So Andrew Klavan has kind of made the point that the problem with one problem artists face is the intellectual class has kind of decided they are above the artist, where a good critic will mine something, find something beautiful in it, maybe explain something that not even the artist understood about his own art. But a bad critic decides that the artist is stupid, the artist doesn't understand anything, and I, the critic, I will decide for everyone what your art means. So that was kind of beautiful because I critique art a lot, and so it kind of reminded me that yes, there actually can be a good value to criticism, but you just have to have a humble attitude about it. And also kind of illustrated the difference between a review and a critique. A review is just, should you read this or not? And a critique is, what does this thing mean? All right, now the Abolition of Man. This is the juiciest one. So I reread The Abolition of Man because I've been noticing atheists like Sargon of Akkad quoting it. C.S. Lewis was obviously a Christian writer. I think I read it in high school, absorbed it. I read it carefully, but I'm sure I didn't really comprehend how it fit into the bigger picture, because I was learning oh, who are the eugenicists? This is interesting, right? So now that I'm kind of older and I've returned to it, I kind of see where C.S. Lewis fits in history a bit, where he's primarily arguing that eugenics is bad. Eugenics is very, very dangerous, but because he's talking about these universal principles, a lot of it, even though thankfully eugenicists aren't a big deal anymore, a lot of it still has application, where Lewis's basic argument is this intellectual class, abusing the idea of science, have decided they get to take apart everything. And the problem with taking apart everything is if you don't learn how to put things back together again, taking apart things doesn't become useful anymore. It's useful to take apart something and learn how it works so you can put it back together or improve it or make it even better. But if all you're doing is taking apart things, you end up with kind of this emotionless, control freak society where there are no guiding values or principles. There's only impulse, and we become slaves, essentially. So it's a really, really good book, and this applies to the arts as well as the sciences. So in the arts, I think we have this problem of people wanting to deconstruct all the arts and say, no, all of this, it's just trash, it's just propaganda, it doesn't mean anything. So C.S. Lewis's middle way is, on the one side, there's the problem is someone who's overly sentimental. They just believe whatever load of garbage you sell to them, as long as you make an emotional appeal to them. So one way of avoiding that problem is to be an emotionalist hack where you don't believe the emotional appeal because you have no emotions yourself. You're kind of like a cold, supposedly logical automaton who thinks you're so much wiser and smarter than everybody else. But you actually are just cutting yourself off from this sort of rich emotional life and this rich history and English literature. And then Lewis's preferred path is to have strong emotional sensibilities so that you can sort of distinguish the stupid from the true, to be able to tell the difference from the stupid advertisement that promises you an adventure from the good piece of literature that actually beautifully speaks of adventure or of love or of virtue and death and great combat, all this great stuff. Lewis wants a educated young class who have high sensibilities about the past so that they're not robbing themselves essentially of a key part of the human spirit. All right, with all of that, what does this have to do with Mega Man NT Warrior? Well, Mega Man NT Warrior, here's your spoiler-free review. It's kind of stupid simple. Now, stupid simple is different from stupid. Something's stupid if it's just without any substance whatsoever. It's stupid simple if even a stupid person could understand it. One thing I like about Mega Man NT Warrior is I think it kind of gets the core appeal of the original Mega Man franchise. The core appeal of the original Mega Man franchise is cool robots fighting. And the robots, they have so much cool stuff. They've got flamethrowers and they shoot bubbles. Little kids love Mega Man robots. Little kids have literally designed Mega Man robots. It is a stupid simple core appeal. Mega Man NT Warrior kind of taps into that and says, okay, cool, stupid simple robots, and they fight each other. All right, so that being said, I can't strongly recommend Mega Man NT Warrior because it's so straightforward. I kind of am predicting where it's going. I can always pick up the story beats and I say, okay, now this is going to happen because this is a 30-minute cartoon plot. Sometimes it gets to be a little unintentionally hilarious because they're trying to have an emotional moment and I just know he's not really dead. They're going to reset the internet and save him, right? So it's a little it's a little too childish for me as an adult. That being said, that's not a reason to just dismiss it or hand wave it away as ridiculous, because I think it's actually touching into something that's really important for young boys. If I were 11, this would have been my absolute jam because of all the cool robots fighting. And it actually has some really great, good protagonist moments where the protagonist actually struggles and gets his butt kicked all over the place. So, my spoiler-free review is harmless, silly fun. You will have a good time. You're not going to, walk away with some greater appreciation of this as a high work of literature, but it doesn't need to be that. This is a book targeted at 11-year-olds that 6-year-olds could understand easily. Now, let's actually hop into it a little bit, because since I've offered the premise that this is a stupid, simple book, I want to show you, the unintentionally hilarious part of it and the part where I think it's actually kind of reaching something deeper. All right, so it opens up with, tanks and bombs, right? So that's your narrative promise that, oh, I feel so bad. I'm such a bad book lover for folding my pages, but I didn't have paper clips. All right, so tanks and bombs, it's a promise. Hey, little boys, do you like tanks and bombs? Something bad's going to happen. So keep reading and we'll show you what bad thing is going to happen. So the protagonist is Lan. Gosh, there's so many internet names. And I think I'd seen a clip of this show when it was on TV. So what I didn't get was that Lan isn't Mega Man. I thought, okay, Lan, he plays Mega Man as a video game character and they're both the same guy. But then what's quickly established is that Mega Man is a sentient program. He has self-awareness. And they have two different personalities. So thumbs up, they actually establish these as two different characters where Lan has a kind of immature, self-confident, arrogant personality, and Mega Man has a bit of a lecturing nanny personality, and they fight each other like brothers. And then overall the course of their story is learning to adopt someone else's strengths and fix your failings by adopting someone else's strengths. So if Lan's strength is that he's self-confident and bold, his weakness is that he's an arrogant bully in many ways. If Mega Man's weakness is that he's kind of kind of a nag and nitpicks everybody. His strength is that he's conscientious and has a strong moral conscience, and he's humble. So Lan has to learn to adopt Mega Man's humility to become a true hero. I really like this page because I think it kind of illustrates what I'll call like the kid-friendly, all ages style, if there is one. I think a lot of all ages manga books tend to maybe have simpler characters, simpler worlds, obviously simpler plots and ideas, but they don't necessarily have like the hard edginess or maybe like sharp angles and what would it be? I think that older manga, like for Shonen Jump and Seinen manga, they sort of up all of the edginess and the sharpness of the lines to make it kind of feel sharp and feel cool and edgy for kids. And then for little kid books, they try to make everything kind of simple and appealing, more cartoony, maybe more Osamu Tezuka-esque. And for Mega Man, I mean, the franchise obviously has a close connection to Tezuka's Astro Boy, so that's a good fit for it. Roll shows up, and in this universe, Roll and Mega Man are not brother and sister, and they actually kind of flirt with each other a bit. So I'm not against that because they're not brother and sister. I'm just saying, it'll always be weird. If you do an alternate universe where Luke and Leia are not brother and sister and they're romantically attached, that's okay because they're not brother and sister. I'm just saying, it's a little weird. But Meilu is kind of a fun little, female joins the male protagonist in his... All right, so here's what's important. On Twitter, maybe about once a year, I'll always see people complaining about Shonen Jump and how, oh, it's written by a man, and the girls are so terrible in the Shonen Jump, they don't have any personality. And usually there's a grain of truth to that. Like, the girls in Shonen Jump stories often are not super important, or they contribute very little, or they're a little bit shallow. And that's a legitimate, literary criticism. It would be better for literature, for, popular superhero literature for young boys to have well fleshed out female characters, but part of saying it's not for you means accepting that popular superhero literature for young boys is going to have a different emphasis from serious literature. In serious literature, you try to flesh out all your characters. In silly adventure stories for little boys, the emphasis isn't, oh, the characters are so well developed. The emphasis is cool robots fighting. Now, that being said, Meilu doesn't, do much in terms of, fighting or adding to the super team, but she actually does add something important for Lan's story, where Meilu is a mature girl with just a real good dose of common sense. And this book is really, really on the nose. She literally has a conversation with Lan where she tells him, I think you're too full of yourself and your head is too swelled. You need to become more humble or you're going to get beat up. And then he goes and gets beat up and learns to be more humble. It is really, really on the nose with the character development, but Meilu adds something actually to the story because she has enough maturity to recognize you can't just walk through life thinking you're the winner and the best and you're going to win all the time. You're going to lose eventually. Did I lose my bookmarks? Let's see here. Where are my bookmarks? Where are my bookmarks? All right, so Lan makes some dumb decisions. He literally joins a terrorist group because he's mad at his school. And look, they even do, the cool, cute little, cartoon conventions of, Doom and the shadows, and he's got a goatee, and the weird eyes, and the evil smile, and he praises him, and he asks him to join a terrorist hacker organization, and Lan just does it. Okay, I like this, because one of the sort of sub-points is that Lan gets bullied at school, but he's actually a bully himself. His bully Dex is like a big, strong guy. And when you see a big, strong guy fighting a little short dude, you automatically identify with and sympathize with the little short dude. But Lan makes mean comments about how Dex is an idiot. And over time, Dex is developed, and we realize that Dex actually has some really noble qualities to him. So part of Lan learning to become a true hero is Lan learning to be humble, and Lan learning that he can be a bully too. And sometimes the bully at school, they're not just a bully. They're a human being. They have emotions too. You can actually become friends with your bully. I like that. I like when the bully nerd archetype gets upset a little bit and they become friends. It's like Flash Gordon and Spider-Man, really. And there's more kind of Spider-Man-esque themes throughout this one. Jumping forward, I like the fights themselves. There's this really cool subtext to it where what makes Lan special is he's so close to Mega Man that basically there's no delay in his orders, where a lot of other gamers, they press the button and then there's a delay where then the robot executes it. But there's no delay for Lan and Mega Man, where they basically fight as one. That's kind of interesting just on a physical level because, it's about timing and it's about gaining so much skill that it becomes a natural flow for you. So it's really cool from like a battle perspective. It's also cool from a psychological perspective because not only are they learning from each other on the moral level, they're learning from each other on the physical, let's fight the evil bad guy level. That's great. I don't really get how this works because it's not virtual reality. He's literally holding like this goofy proto iPhone in his hand, so isn't he still having to press but I accept the dumb thing and just keep moving on. Cool robots. This whole little subplot is kind of an example of what I say it has a Saturday morning cartoon writing style where they'll introduce a brand new character. The brand new character, he's been best friends with him all along, and now he's got a problem. He's going to have to move away, and we solve the whole plot in 30 minutes, where I kind of wish, couldn't we have built up this guy a little bit more? What are the emotional consequences? But you know what? 30-minute Saturday morning cartoon plot, that's fine. This is for 11-year-olds. I shouldn't overthink it. It's for 11-year-olds. It doesn't all have to be super duper deep and well thought out. Why'd I mark this? Oh, this was kind of weird. There's sometimes when it violates my expectations, but kind of in weird ways. So I thought the direction it was going to go is, oh no, his best friend's moving away, so he and his best friend, they're going to have to team up and fight the bad guys. And then the best friend basically does nothing, and Roll helps him fight the bad guys, which is kind of cool because Roll does something, but wouldn't it have made more sense for his friend to do something cool and go on a cool adventure? I don't know. So I'm overthinking it. This is for 11-year-olds. I like this. I like this panel because it changes the visual style to underscore a serious moment of like, oh no, I'm moving away and I'm actually sad about this, even though I'm normally kind of a jokey, comedic character. And then it's a setup for a gag, of course, where he plays a practical joke as soon as he moves away. So maybe we'll see this character again. Maybe they'll develop that. I just feel like some of the Saturday morning cartoon plots kind of take me out of the world a little bit because I know exactly the direction they're going, or I don't know, I'll feel weirdly unfulfilled. Like I wish he got to fight some cool robots too. Fighting cool robots is an important part of Mega Man. The characters you're developing should get to fight some cool robots. I like Number Man, and I like that his power is throwing dice. And here's where kind of like Dex and Guts Man start getting some real development. So Guts Man was a bad guy in Mega Man, but I guess they decided to make Guts Man a good guy. In this, that's fine. They're reinventing some things. So they have this, again, they're underscoring this whole thing that the person playing the game is not the same as their robot character. Even if there are some similarities in their personalities, they're both big, strong, dumb guys. But this gets underscored by the fact that Dex actually cares about Gutsman and takes pride in Gutsman, even though he's nowhere near Mega Man's level. Like every time Gutsman and Mega Man fight, Mega Man wins easily because Mega Man is speedy. But Gutsman, we start to understand, has like this real drive and this real hard work ethic to him that makes him kind of a sweet, tragic, admirable character because he's not living up to Mega Man yet. Yet he believes in himself and he believes in Gutsman. It's this it's great. I love seeing a bully get developed and made into an actual character. Now, so far, Mega Man's pride and joy has been that he is super duper fast, right? And he wins all of his fights. Every time the stupid bully at school challenges him, Lan beats him easily because Lan is super duper. Oh, I like this Commissioner Gordon gag. I don't know, it's just always interesting to me seeing Batman or Superman referenced in manga. So what's the setup for our super duper protagonist who wins all the time? He's going to get his butt kicked over and over and over again. And sometimes there's like progressive butt kicking. Like he gets his butt kicked a little, and he gets his butt kicked more. So he gets a little butt kicking from the commissioner who says, you have the super duper special power. I want you on my super duper bad guy fighting team. And then he fights someone who like tosses him around a bit and then finally gets a clean hit on him. So this impresses the commissioner. I'll spoil everything. It turns out that it was the commissioner the whole time just testing his abilities. And there's this nice little touch that after Mega Man gets a clean hit on him, the commissioner has the hit too, so that kind of visually reminds you, oh, when they get hurt in the virtual world, they get hurt in the real world, and that's what makes them special. It's also this cool Achilles heel thing where it means that you could get killed rather than just like losing your robot in the internet. You actually could get killed if you die in the internet. So that's dangerous. It means that you're really killable, but you gain this benefit of you're much faster and you're much stronger. I don't know. I kind of like Achilles' heels like that, where your strength is your weakness. All right, that's kind of the end of Volume 1, and Volume 2 then builds on that. So he kind of got his butt kicked a little bit, but he gets to join the Super Duper team, right? So what's the next step? He gets stomped. And not only does he get stomped in a way which shows him that his greatest strength, the thing he's most proud of, his speed, is nothing. He fights someone who is 10 times faster than him and kicks him all the way to Sunday. This is Mailu giving him like that really on the nose, like, you have to stop being arrogant or you will get your butt kicked. He gets his butt kicked by a guy named Chowd Blaze. His name is Chowd Blaze. Okay. And, like, your boy Zach, Diversity in Comics, he always makes the point that the protagonist has to look awesome at least once. Even when he loses, there's, like, this moment where he blocks a hit and almost gets in a clean hit himself on the superior fighter. Then Mega Man loses, and he gets humbled. But, Proto Man Chowd Blaze kind of points out the fact that, man, he almost got a clean hit on me. He could have some potential, right? So even as he's getting his butt kicked, we're being reminded that he has the potential to become this great hero. And they keep developing like this cool stuff, like Gutsman when Lan is being a little whiny, and now I'm such a loser. I don't want to have anything to do with Mega Man anymore because I lost. Well, then Gutsman, as a rival, kind of like comes and spars with Mega Man while Lan's being a loser, reminding us that even though he's kind of a big oaf, he's actually providing a challenge to Mega Man, which is making Mega Man stronger. That's so cool. They do like a fastball special right out of Wolverine. Okay, I marked this page because this is really cool because it's like a cool dodging sequence, but I actually don't understand the logic of it. It looks like he's diving down here and then forward, but your eye is actually more inclined to go this way. Now, the reason I think it's supposed to be down here than up there is this is forward in space, and this is backward in space, right? So the most logical thing is he dives away from the rock, comes down here, flips, and then kicks forward towards the bad guy. But visually, I end up going up here and then down here. I don't know. So what would have probably helped would have been like a figure down here, so the curve would go this way, and then move this guy over here, so you go down and then up. You want the eye to follow the direction the guy is going. But still, really kind of a cool dodge sequence despite my OCD dissatisfaction with the composition. Mr. Wily shows up, and Mr. Wily, he's like a Luddite who is angry that robotics doesn't exist anymore, and it's kids these days on the internet, and they actually roast him for being an idiot and insane, that's his motivation. I kind of dug that. This weird, goofy iPhone thing. It has a handle you can grab, and it kind of looks like a gun. I don't know, because it'd be kind of weird to see them holding these like normal iPhone. It's weird. It's a weird little aspect of the design of the world that it's kind of like early 2000s, and they're Mega Man, you stupid jerk! Oh, he's dead and his face is floating in the clouds, and I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing because I knew they were going to bring him back. Because obviously Mega Man has to go on more adventures. When it tries to do like serious, oh no, Mega Man is dead, I couldn't get invested in that because I knew that the death was going to be temporary and they were going to bring him back. So I guess that's the flaw. It's trying to evoke these really sweet, really powerful ideas of a young man becoming a hero and developing into a mature human being. And then there'll be like this really cheesy thing. Oh no, Mega Man's dead. I'm going to cry and mourn his passing. And I know where it's going. But still, despite the fact that it's kind of cheesy and it's not high literature, I still appreciate the moral of the story it's telling to young kids. There's literally a scene, I lost it, where Mega Man's face is uniting, here it is, with Lan's face. And of course, what this means is they're literally becoming one as they fight in the internet world. But metaphorically, this is also Lan learning from Mega Man and becoming and gaining from Mega Man's strength. It's a metaphor for teamwork, two different soldiers becoming brothers and fighting as one, putting aside their individual weaknesses so they can work towards a common goal. It's like an individual young phone ran out of storage just as I was getting to the good point. So the point is, like, not only is he learning from him like as a fellow soldier, It's also like a metaphor for becoming a complete human being and learning how to overcome your weaknesses and character flaws as a human being by learning from others. Made into like a literal metaphor a 6-year-old could understand. It's just like the Spider-Man Peter Parker mask, where it's these two sides of his personality. It's beautiful. Should you read Megaman NT? That depends. Do you have a high tolerance for ridiculousness? Here's my pitch. A pretty pickle we're in, Inspector. The fate of the world resting on the shoulders of two 11-year-old boys. Groan. I'm not a praying man, but may these kids find favor with the Almighty. It's ridiculous. I love it. Do you think Mega Man is cool? Check out these other cool books. Mega Man is super cool. Yeah, it's an 11-year-old book, but a lot of fun. That's it. Now you know what the Abolition of Man has to do, sort of, with Mega Man. The Abolition of Man is going to get its own video. Number one Marmaduke fan, I love you guys. Catch you later. P.S. The gag on page 178 is perfectly timed. All right, so Garfield uses that, 1, 2, 3 rhythm. This uses a different rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Payoff of the gag, punchline, boom, pratfall. Perfect timing of a gag. 178, Volume 2, Mega Man NT Warrior. Pay attention if you comedians, you will learn so much. That's it, for real this time. Love you, catch you later.